Hey guys, Christina here, and I wanted to give you a look at our garden. This is the third year that we've lived in this home, but it's the first full year that we've had our raised garden beds. We didn't get them built and the soil in them until August last year. So I'm kind of just testing out to see what grows here, what doesn't grow here, and kind of how it's all doing in the new space. So I'll give you a tour of our garden. So here's a look at our garden. I'll start down here. So we have tomato plants. They got really damaged by the hail. We lost so many tops. As you can see, things are broken. I tried to take off what I could that was broken, but there's still more. We have one tomato that's almost red in here. We have quite a few tomatoes growing. Just waiting for them to ripen, so hopefully we'll get some in the next week or so. So the aromas here. You can see that. These here are rainbow carrots, and they've gone to seed. They're super tall, but the carrots are like, there's like nothing there. I don't know. These are just regular carrots. They're doing really well. You can see they're pretty big there. These are our beets. They're growing really long and narrow this year. They're not super round, and they're pretty small. Need some more soil. So definitely gonna leave those as long as possible. Our pea plants got totally destroyed with the hail. There hasn't been any new growth on them. So we're gonna take those out. Now here we actually have zucchini we're gonna eat later this week. Our first one here. This is really crowded. You can see zucchini there, and actually there's a pumpkin in here too. Where is it? Right here. A little sugar pumpkin. Because what happened was the ones I started, I put in here and they didn't do very well. So I put some seeds in and nothing came up. So I put more seeds in a couple weeks later and then everything came up at once. But still a lot of damage from the hail. These are the strawberries. We have some still growing and they're shooting out, which is great. Last year they did not survive, so we're gonna try putting some hay around them this year and covering it. Because I think the problem is, because we've had strawberries for years and they've always grown fine, but I think because it's so far off the ground, that's why they didn't survive. So we're gonna try and keep them alive this year. I'll show you over here. You can see that pumpkin a little better. And we've got zucchini. And yeah, so much damage from the hail. And no new peas. Then over here, this is the first year we've had trouble with Swiss chard. We have very little Swiss chard that actually came up. And again, a lot of damage from the hail. Our kale, we lost about half of our kale. Our lettuce, we lost over half of our lettuce in that as well. The romaine did great this year though. We've had tons of lettuce. Our green onions, we have one big one. The rest one are just starting to grow. They've taken a really long time. It's one of the first things I planted, but yeah. Cucumber, again, they've really struggled. We haven't had any flowers on them at all this year. You can see not doing so well. And the reason that there's two different levels on some of these is because we had extra dirt when we filled these last year, and we were just gonna like use the soil and eventually it would go down, but then we realized that we couldn't cover it when there was frost in the early season. So anything I had already planted seeds in stayed, and anything I hadn't yet I was able to dig down a bit. So like once these come up and all this is gone, then we'll get rid of some of this dirt and it will be more like this for the future years. This is our cilantro. It came up and got about that big and then it went to seed. So we replanted and it's slowly coming back up. Some more carrots here, very slow growing. These are 2 bins of potatoes and they never flowered and then they started to die, and so I was kind of wondering what happened, and I dug a little up and I actually found potato in there. So I'm gonna dump these out and see what we have in here. Usually I don't have a problem with growing potatoes in containers at all. Here's another batch of lettuce, romaine that we started. So hopefully that will continue to grow. We can keep eating that. This is okra. We thought we'd just grow for fun to see. It has taken months to get it this big. It's not gonna go very far. Over here we have chives. They are very, very slow to grow as well. Not doing so well. And then in the middle here we had baby bok choy, which did really well. And we harvested it very early in the season. So here's another little area we planted this year. So we have corn. You can tell it is growing, but it's very small. It's probably about 3 feet high. And this was started in March inside. We were given raspberry bushes that we planted along here, and it's been doing really well. We've been getting a few raspberries every day. This is rhubarb that we were given this year. It's done great. We have 2 different plants. It really got hit. We lost probably 3/4 of the rhubarb in the hail. We have a bunch of zucchini plants here, but nothing has flowered on this side yet. And then I have more kale over here, which is doing pretty good. So just trying to use up any space that we can. So we'll eat that up. And then we have this over here. So this is a box we made. There is a lot going on over here because it gets a lot of sun. Oh, you can see this one's broken a bit. Yeah, there's actually, same thing I had here. I planted a bit, didn't do well, planted more, and then all of a sudden it all did well. So we've got some more zucchini in here we're gonna eat this week. And then we've got quite a few pumpkins. This one's probably the biggest one over here. So hoping we can get some good sugar pumpkins before the frost comes, but it's totally overgrown. So I pulled up the rainbow carrots, and there's a few that did okay, but then majority of them were this. Some of them weren't even this big. We're gonna try eating and see if we can eat any of like these ones here. A couple of the regular carrots must have blown the seeds over there too. We got some of those. So we'll give it a try and see what we can eat. But I think in the future, rainbow carrots are not worth growing in the space we have. We'll stick to regular carrots. So Nathan helped me empty those 2 containers. And we definitely got some potatoes. So not bad size either. We will eat these for a meal. Thanks for coming along with me today. Let me know what zone you live in for gardening and what challenges do you have where you live, but also what grows really well where you are too. Otherwise, I hope this finds you having a great day. Take care.